What's up, people? Cheers. Man, this is good. Cold beer. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to this beautiful, warm, mid-September day. So I took this opportunity to go out, walk a little, shoot some videos, shoot some photos, and make this here video. The subject of which is macro photography. You might wonder, how is this related to the channel, which mostly deals with street photography? Well, let me explain. The way I understand, the way I do things, and very personally so, macro photography is related to street photography and with the subject matter of this channel in two ways. Firstly, and chronologically, because this is what got me into photography. Back in 2013, I just had my phone, and throughout time, various little clip-on macro lenses you see in your Facebook ads or all over eBay, and I used these to very naively so take lots of photos and videos of mostly abstract stuff, textures, colors, shapes, and forms, and eventually moved on to insects, and this is what sparked my interest in photography in the first place. This is what lit that fire that burns right now. This is how I learned the magical, wonderful feeling of creating pictures, of taking everything that you see, everything that is around you, and cramming it into a little box. In a way, only you can, because nature is large, it's big, there's a lot of it. And to be able to take just a part of it and cram it in a picture and have that picture make sense and be attractive and beautiful is quite a feat, to be honest. So when it works out, the feeling is really, really great. So I owe my entire passion for photography to those early moments when I, very naively so, I have to stress, took pictures of whatever I found appealing and attractive. Later on, I bought a camera and I started studying, I started teaching myself photography, and the rest is history, as they say. But this is the main way macro photography relates to what I do now, which is mostly street photography. The second way it relates is through beer. No, I'm just kidding. Let me take another sip and we'll talk. God bless the Phoenicians. Was it? I think it was the Phoenicians that brewed the first beer around 5,500 years ago. So God bless their souls. And back to the subject. The second way macro photography relates to what I'm doing now is because, although not easily evident, I think macro photography and street photography especially, or at least how I do them, how I approach them, have very much in common. Let me explain how. Both with macro and street, you just go there and photograph what is. I never pose my subjects. I don't tell the lady at the market, hold your hand like this and be like that and smile to me. And no, I don't do that. Also, I don't take the bugs I shoot. Well, used to shoot, but that's getting ahead of myself a little. I don't take them home and pose them in artificial sceneries, and certainly I never killed them. Well, I did it once or twice, but quickly found that I felt very, very bad about it. So 99% of the time I shot macro photography, it was in situ, as they say, on the field, with animals in their natural habitat. Most of what I did was just photograph them where they were, and if I intervened, was just to pick up a branch. Well, this is the microphone. Well, just let's assume this is the branch and this had the bug on it. At most, I just took it and positioned it in order to get a good composition, but that's pretty much the entire extent of the way I intervened. So both with street photography and macro photography, you go and shoot what is in an unmediated, undirected kind of way. You just go there, you observe, and you photograph. You make the best of what there is. And this is where study, preparation, and maybe a little bit of talent or creative eye comes in, where you, like I said before, where you frame a certain part of the world in a way that is appealing to yourself and others. So with that said, considering these two ways, street photography and macro photography, are very similar to me, because I don't expect anybody to agree. It's not about that. I don't want people to agree. I'm just explaining how and why these two things, apparently very different subject matters, were very dear to me. At one point I was so interested in macro photography. I started learning entomology. I started studying insects and their behavior and habitats and their scientific Latin names. I really had a lot of passion for macro photography. At one point, I even considered making it my main thing. I dreamed of being picked up and sponsored by the likes of, I don't know, National Geographic or Nature magazine, and being sent into the wild, to shoot insects for years. Well, yeah, all this is to say I was really passionate about macro photography. I used to, when the macro season was in full swing, that is May up until September, I used to wake up at 6, and especially so on weekends, wake up at 6, and by 7:30, I would be in local woods or in a park near the river Mureș here, and I would shoot for 2, 3, 4 hours straight, like hundreds and hundreds of pictures, and I would do this day in, day out. I was really hooked on macro photography. I invested in all sorts of gear and diffusers. I studied proper diffusion techniques and lighting. I tried a lot of variants. Some worked, some didn't. All that is to say that macro photography is not something I treated lightly as a side hobby. It was one of my main things. Sometimes, at one point, I had a lot more interest in macro photography than I did in street photography. But this brings me to today and the subject of today's video. And usually when I came back home from shooting macro, I was really very excited to sit down at the computer and look at all the photos and edit them and post them and learn about the insects, maybe the new stuff I've found, and talk with people on those entomology groups I used to frequent. This was really fun for me. This was really exciting. I found this to be very, very fun and pleasant. But this one time, I think it was June, I came back home and I really didn't feel like editing those photos. And they are still there in their folder, unedited to this day. And it was that day when I realized I had fallen out of love with macro photography. It came kind of gradually because I almost kind of felt my interest in macro wane a little over the time. But I think I thought it was kind of one of those ups and downs, and interest and the passion is not really something constant. So I didn't think much of it, but I started thinking more of it when more time went on and I really didn't feel like going out to shoot macro. Then came Sunday mornings with perfect weather, 12 to 15 degrees early morning, which meant really slow insects, really great opportunity for good photography. And it was those times when I usually was all giddy with excitement to go out and shoot. And this time I wasn't. I preferred to stay home and play games, or maybe do nothing, browse the web, look at videos on YouTube, or just go out and shoot street. This is also kind of like a side effect, I think, or something that happened together with this, is that my interest in street photography has peaked considerably. It's like these two things shared a common pool of interest, if that makes any sense. And since I've started showing less interest for macro, there was more available for street. So this is pretty much what happened. But the reason why I'm making this video is just to verbalize this, mostly to try and make some sense out of it, because I'm thinking if I'm saying these things out loud, maybe they start making some sense, because I really, really don't understand how this happened. I mean, I never thought it possible. If anything, had you asked me which one of these two areas of photography I would first quit or let go if I had to, I would always choose street. But the opposite happened. So I'm trying to make some sense out of it. This is why I'm making this video, to start a conversation, maybe start, or at least try to make some sense out of it. I'm not entirely sure if this is permanent, but I was confident enough. This is not a 2-week thing because I sold my flash. So if I were to suddenly start feeling like I want to shoot macro, I really can't, because the way I did it at 1x and over magnifications, flash is really, really obligatory. There's no way around it. You just have to use flash. So yeah, not to ramble on any more than I did. Thank you for watching. If you did, please kindly consider supporting this. If you find anything useful or fun or worthwhile here, there's a Buy Me a Coffee link down below in the description. So, short video. If I find it good enough, it will probably make it to YouTube. If not, hey, you will never know. But if it does, please consider liking, subscribing, using the comments down below to join the conversation. And until next time, this has been Radu. Be well, everybody. Bye-bye.